Hello there, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, this time of The Bouncer, also known as Lukas. Now, this DVD is thanks to Anthony of Let's Talk Resident Evil on YouTube. So if you watch Anthony, thank you very much. Feel free to leave a comment down below. This was on my Amazon wish list, and he bought it for me, saying, "Hi Matt, enjoy your gift. Thank you for all the review marathons. Been watching since 2008. From Anthony, Let's Talk Resident Evil on YouTube." So, thank you so much for that. That was really kind of you to do. There are two versions of this film. One where it's English and French, and the French is subtitled. And then this one, which those French parts are dubbed in English. Now, I saw this in a double feature with Van Damme's new film, We Die Young. And that one I really did not care for. I'll get to why in the next video. This one, I would say, is okay, but I'm kind of disappointed as well. I would say, for example, to my friend Efrey, don't pay to see this film. I would wait till you see it for free, because I know he was much more on the fence about it. I don't think he would like this film. Me, I give it points for a couple of things. Van Damme does a nice job acting. The score, I thought, was subtle and well placed in certain sequences. The musical score fit the type of film. This dark, how do I put it? Gritty is an overused word, but it could be applied for this film. Low-key movie. It's a very low-key flick. The score reflects that. The cinematography is very nice. There's some good-looking shots where it's all done in one take. I mean, the opening scene where Van Damme is going to work from the outside into this club he works at as a bouncer, and the low thump of the soundtrack, and it's all done in one shot. Or there's a sequence where he goes in to get this guy who's running drugs and such. It's a guy that the bad guys need. By this point, the bad guys have his daughter, and he sneaks in, go by some barking dog, goes upstairs, looking around, finds something, like, all done seemingly in one shot. It doesn't have a lot of quick edits, so it doesn't become discombobulated or confusing. It's a short film. It's only an hour and 26 minutes, and that's with the credits, so it's not an overly long film. And like I said, Van Damme does decent job acting. I've always enjoyed Van Damme. I've always enjoyed him as an actor. Yes, even back in the days of Bloodsport and Kickboxer and Hard Target, whichever poster over there. I've always enjoyed him. I love Van Damme. That's why I did a marathon where I reviewed pretty much every film he's been in. I have a playlist of it on my channel where I reviewed pretty much all of his films, which is why I saw this film and We Die Young. The plot is simple. Like, he's a bouncer. Something goes wrong where he's taking a guy out. The guy tries to hit him. He dodges. The guy hits his head on the floor, dies, which leads to Van Damme getting fired. He needs a new job. He goes to... His buddy gets him a new job at the strip club, and the owner of it is also a guy who runs this counterfeiting thing. There's also a cop that approaches Van Damme and goes, "Well, you don't work for us. Oh, is that incident in the club? There's going to be some trouble for you. You don't spend some jail time. You don't be away from your daughter," things of that nature. So Van Damme has to work with the cops as well as being with this group of guys. And there's some decent moments. There's a moment where, in order to get the job at the strip club, it's the last man standing, and so they fight it out. Now, it's not the classic fighting. It's more being real. Granted, a little bit shaky for my taste, but it's not edited to shit. But it's nothing to run home about either. I mean, I like the idea of it, but it's like, eh. There's an alright car chase in a parking garage, and it's alright because it's not edited to hell like Taken 2 or Taken 3. Like those piss poor editing jobs. But I have a lot of issues with the film. It was disappointing. I don't give like ratings of like star ratings. But if someone would ask me out of 5 stars, I'd probably say like 2.5 or 3 out of 5 stars. Like it's okay, but and before people asked, no, I did not think there was going to be Bloodsport, and Kickboxer, and Hard Target, and Time Cop again. All films I love. But I could easily say Six Bullets, I think, is a better film than this. I think Wake of Death is a better film than this. I think In Hell and Until Death are better films than this. JCVD, I think, is a better film than this. That's the thing. This is not the first time. Like, I get that Van Damme's a good actor. And maybe there's that part of me that wishes he would get out of this acting. I get it. I get he's a good actor. But either give it to a guy that will go batshit crazy, like the director of Mandy with Nicolas Cage, or give it to an accomplished director like Nicholas Winding Refn, who did Drive. Just don't have him write the movie, but just direct it, you know. Or maybe there's a part of me that would love to see that old Van Damme. I know he can't do the 360 kicks. I'm not talking about that, because I know that hurts him physically. But some like emotion, happiness, smiles, not zombie state. And I don't think this is as bad as like Assassination Games, which I did not like. That's the thing. Like this is not a rant because I did not like Assassination Games. I think that's way worse. Or Swelter, which you had a big part in. That one I did not like at all. UFO, Alien Uprising, that's pretty shitty. That's what I mean. I've seen much better. I've seen much worse. But my issues with the film. Number one, even for an hour and 26-minute running time, again, that's with the end credits, the film still feels a bit dull in parts. I don't know if that's because the film seems so cold, meaning everyone's super serious, but it's... I would have even appreciated like a big emotional outburst of Van Damme, like he had in Wake of Death when he's crying over the death of the woman he loves. Even moments of that Spurston could break out of the doldrums, the little bit of dullness in parts. I don't know, it's because like everyone was acting that way, very super serious and talking like this. And then the low thump of the soundtrack and the trying to be real in the action. Maybe that's part of it. The story isn't the most memorable story. It's not really a story that pulls you in when it's going for that route. I would have actually appreciated maybe more scenes with his daughter and seeing their bond. Or if you're going to go with these bad, like, the action scenes, you don't have to make them so real. You could give a little bit of panache, a little bit of, like you did in Six Bullets or in Wake of Death. I would have actually appreciated that in this movie. I know that's not what I was going for, but I think it would have made the film better. You know, you can have your cake and eat it too. Because even the action scenes, like, well, okay, when it's the last man standing and gets the job, he fights. He like hits and hits one guy, gets on the ground, as someone almost knocked him out. He gets back up. He hits the guy like twice, gets him to the ground, like makes him fall asleep, chokehold. When there's one good-looking shot, like in one shot where they follow Van Damme, the camera follows Van Damme, and he has to go in to get this guy out for the bad guys, because the bad guys have taken his daughter and say, you gotta get this guy out of this building or else. And some of the direction is nice. Like the beginning of the scene, like doing it all in one shot. The beginning of the scene, there's no sound. It's just music until shots are fired, and then there's sound. I like that touch, that directorial touch. But if you look at the scene, not much happens. He goes in, again, this is with no sound, just music, passes by some barking dogs, goes up, looks in a room, closes the door, goes over, finds the guy, pulls a gun on him, leads him away. They walk by a mirror, the mirror gets shot. That's where there's sound effects now. They go, Van shoots one guy, I think like in the leg or something. You can't really tell because it's far away, the guy being shot, so. Again, it's all being done in one take. The guy tries to run, he gets the guy, slams into a bookshelf. They go outside. He shoots past the guy to scare him and tell him to drop the gun. The guy does it. Gets the guy to go downstairs on the outside. They get into the car and they leave. So while it is a nice looking shot being done in one take, it has some nice directorial touches, like having no sound, just music until shots are fired and then the sound effects are brought in. It still amounted to not much of anything being actually done. You get what I mean? Like if you watch the scene, not much actually happens. And that's a good summation of the film, where there's some nice stuff, some nice directorial touches, music, cinematography. Van Damme's not bad at all. It doesn't add up to much of anything. And once again, I'm not saying it's going to be another Cyborg or Death War like classic Van Damme. But even compared to Wake of Death, In Hell, Until Death, JCVD, I think this isn't as good as those. Especially considering how some films like Universal Soldier The Return, which I love, I think it's very underrated, how that gets shit on. I think that film, it's great as you compare it apples with oranges. Two very different things, but considering how much that shit gets, I would rather watch that film any day than this. Or even dramatic-wise, I think In Hell had more to it. I think Wake of Death had more to it. JCVD had more to it. I liked Jean-Claude Van Johnson. I know some people didn't. I enjoyed that show. I'd rather have that guy in the second season than... But that's what I mean. It's an okay, but forgettable. I think that's a good word to say. A forgettable flick. I mean, if I told you through the whole story... Again, it started off well. Him entering the club in one shot, some nice things with his daughter. He has to get this pencil for school and some nice good-looking shots. Shows him at a punching bag. He's still pretty fast on it. Some nice punches. It shows him at his job. Little clips of him taking people out, out of the club. But then after he gets fired, the film is just kind of boring at times. The cop wants to go undercover. He's ordered to take this woman home. The woman that gets taken home, I'm sorry, there wasn't much to her character. I didn't give a shit about her any way, shape, or form. There's just not much to the character. The villain, there's really not much to him either. It seems like at times there's barely any dialogue in the film to give much inkling of the characters. And at times it's a fairly dark film visually. Granted, not to the point of Alien vs. Predator Requiem, but a bit on the dark side. He gets that woman he was ordered to take home before. He's with his daughter, so it takes both of them to this meeting. Of course, bad mistake on Van Damme's part. Kind of a dumb move on his part. So they take his daughter, and Van Damme has a nice look on his face. But then I wanted to see him shout, curse, what the fuck, angry, pissed. Great, okay, in this kind of film, you don't have him laughing and joking and doing the dance and kickboxer. But have him be pissed. Go the opposite. Angry, pissed, upset. Fuck you, motherfucker. I'm gonna cave your skull in. You what's up? Like, at least do that. There should have been many parts of that in this kind of film. That would have worked. It would have fit the film. That's what I'm talking about, emotion. Emotion doesn't automatically mean just happiness, but moments like just like anger and rage, and that would be appreciated too. The film doesn't have much of that either. So again, while I like Van Damme in the film, he says a lot with no words. You could have him do more of that. Do that. I would say more, but he didn't really do any of that. Have him be pissed, that type of thing. But he does that bit I talked about where he goes in and gets the guy out. It's a nice looking shot. No sound, just music, then sound effects popping up when shots are fired. It's a nice idea, but when you watch the physical happenings, it's not much to run home about. Shoots one guy, I think, in the leg, steers one guy dropping a gun. The guy he's trying to get out pushes him in a bookshelf, gets him up. They go downstairs outside to a car. That's it. Nothing really to run home about. Compared to stuff in Wake of Death, or In Hell, or Until Death, or even JCVD. Hell, the one-shot scene in JCVD over 10 years ago, because that was 2008. Although technically this was 2018, so I guess some places say 2018. Although the back of the DVD says 2019. So you can't see it. It says 2019 on the DVD here. The OBDC JCVD, that action scene is better than any action scene in this movie. But it's like, okay, you're not going in for the action. But a lot more could have been done with the story. A lot more could have been done with Van Damme's character. You could have given more emotional ranges. A scene where he's laughing with his kid. That's what I mean. Like more scenes of the kid laughing, joking. More scenes of angry rage. More scenes of that. There's a lot more you could do with that. And I know this is taking a long time, but you can say you don't like it, but I'm giving you other things in place of what they put on screen. And then you have the parking garage scene, which is a decent little car chase shootout scene. Competently filmed. Sends his daughter off, goes up to his last meeting where he takes the lady and goes with the bad guy, and he got a last phone call with the cop. And it's a very lame ending, too. I mean, people are like, are you sure this is a rant? I don't know. I'm just going to put review because there's many other Van Damme films that give me like Day of Reckoning, Regeneration, Alien Uprising, aka UFO, that gave me the rage. This didn't give me the rage. It was just sort of, who knows? Maybe in a year time I'll get up to that. But disappointment. Like okay, disappointment. Okay, I said the ending was disappointing because, I said it was lame. It's Van Damme, the bad guy, and the woman. The woman's looking over the counterfeiting stuff saying it's good. The cop comes in. You find out the cop is a dirty cop. So the bad guy shoots Van Damme. The cop shoots the bad guy, shoots the girl, this lady here. Van Damme kicks the dirty cop in the leg. They're struggling over the gun. The gun shoots by Van Damme's ear. Doesn't make him deaf a la Copland, but that's a film that doesn't have like wall-to-wall actions. But I think that film is better than this. Van Damme gets on top of the guy, just punches him a couple times. Poo, 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 poo. Gets in his car, makes a phone call, tells his daughter. There's a wide shot of the car the Jeep he's in, and you're wondering, is he going to die? Is he not? Then you just see the taillights light up and the engine start, and then credits. So it's an ambiguous ending. Did he live? Did he die? I guess maybe he lived because the engine started and the lights are on, but that doesn't mean he didn't die either. It just makes me go, what's the fucking deal with these endings being ambiguous or him dying? Yours is Soldier Day of Reckoning, he dies. Expendables 2, Brady's the villain, he dies. Alien Uprising, UFO, he dies. Swelter, he dies. Pound of Flesh, he dies. In this movie, maybe, maybe not. It's funny, a lot of times I don't know how I think about a film until I actually say it out loud to a camera. No, that sounds stupid, but it's just, I'm pretty disappointed in the film. I keep repeating myself because I know people want to say this. No, I was not expecting an action film. I knew it was a drama. No, I'm not expecting Hard Target or Kickboxer or fucking, that sort of thing. Although I love those movies and prefer those movies over this. But if you, I gave examples: Wake of Death, In Hell, Until Death, Replicant. There's many other films I think are better than this flick. And people like, oh, Van Damme's acting like some of these reviewers that get paid to do this shit act as if this is the first time Van Damme has ever acted before. I guess you must have missed In Hell, Until Death. Until Death, where he plays a cop who's hooked to drugs, addicted to drugs. And he gets shot, almost dies, comes back, has to change his ways. There's more to that than this film. Or In Hell, when he's put in prison and it's bullshit and he's got to try to survive. JCVD, that one scene alone when he's talking to the camera. Even if you don't like the show, Jean-Claude Van Johnson, which I did like, the pilot had a lot more going for it than this. It just, I'll give you that. I don't think Van Damme was bad in it. The cinematography was nice. There's some good looking one take shots. The soundtrack fit the type of film it was going. I think if you're a fan of Van Damme, it's worth a watch. I mean, it gets reviewers love the film. To me, I don't think it should go that high. It's like, yeah, it's worth a look if you're a Van Damme fan, but don't be surprised if you're. I'm sure most people disagree with me. That happens a lot, but don't be surprised if you're like, after watching the flick. But I do think it's worth one watch to see a competently filmed. It is short, like it says, 80 some minutes long flick, but disappointment is the best way to describe it. It really is, and it sucks. I'm not going to say this is a rant because I'm going to say that for the next video I do, We Die Young, which that is a rant, because I would still rather watch this than We Die Young, which is the new one Van Damme's in. I still got more out of this. With like there's bits and pieces I don't mind, whether it's the writer, whether it's the director. I mean, it was competently filmed. Maybe you need like a big producer, writer to move things in a different direction. Or maybe there's a guy that maybe you do need a different director. You know, a Michael Mann or I mentioned Nicholas Winding Refn. Just don't have him write the film, just direct it, something of that nature, maybe. Maybe even like a Danny Boyle, since he did a great job with 127 hours. But and this covers it. It makes it look like an action film. It's not. It's more of a drama. But yeah. That's the best way I could do it. That's the best way I could word it. So thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.